Good morning, and thank you for joining us today towards the Tuesday before Christmas. It's Christmas week, and we know that celebrations this year should be different. The CDC still recommends that the safest way to celebrate the holidays is home with the people who live with you. Travel and gatherings with family and friends who do not live with you can increase your chances of getting or spreading COVID-19 or the flu. If you are traveling, be sure to take steps to protect yourself and others, like checking travel restrictions, taking a COVID-19 test before and after traveling, packing food and limiting stops if you're driving, packing extra supplies like masks and hand sanitizer, and of course, wearing a mask, watching your distance, and washing your hands. If you're just determined to gather, and we know some folks just will, keep it small, hold it outside or inside with the windows open for better ventilation, and follow the 3 W's: wear, watch, and wash. Chatham County's community transmission 301 a week ago, and remember, a week before that it was in the 2s, and a week before that it was 170. As a reminder, anything over 100 is considered high community spread. COVID-19 hospitalizations in Chatham County have increased from 71 to 95 in the last week. And the concerning issue about that is that we have 2 large regional hospital systems. So we're not just looking at our transmission rates, but we're also looking at transmission rates at our neighbors in the region. So obviously, their infections affect our hospitalizations as well. Please think of our healthcare professionals working through the holiday as you're making your plans to celebrate this week. Our thoughts and prayers are extended to 6th District Alderman Curtis Purchey, who announced this week that he is suffering from COVID-19. We hope that he gets better soon and gets back in the saddle soon. Yesterday, I and 11 other elected officials from across Georgia sent a letter to Senator Kelly Loeffler and Senator David Perdue asking for their advocacy and assistance on behalf of Georgia's governments, or Georgia's local governments, which are in desperate need of COVID-19 relief to help us provide basic services that local governments must provide. We cannot do this on the backs of taxpayers that have already suffered too much, and we need and expect for our senators to remember us and fight for us. And we will release that letter to the media today. City of Savannah offices will be closed on Thursday, December 24th, and Friday, December 25th, so that Team Savannah can take some much-needed rest and relaxation, and for them to spend very well-deserved time with those that mean the most to them. Yesterday, I was excited to announce that Team Savannah had gathered more than 26,000 canned food items for America's second harvest of coastal Georgia during our annual food drive. This was the 13th year that the City of Savannah employees have gathered up canned goods to help neighbors in need. We appreciate them for being great community neighbors, and big shouts out to Heath Lloyd and the infrastructure development team who donated more than 7,000 cans of food, and also to Taffany Young and the community services team who donated the most cans per person at more than 22 cans. Early voting for the Georgia January 5th runoff election continues through Thursday, December the 31st. You can vote early today and tomorrow, as I plan to do, and December 28th through the 31st at the following locations and times: the Savannah Civic Center from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Chatham County Mosquito Control from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Islands Library from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the Southwest Chatham Library from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Voting is available at the Board of Registrar's office today, tomorrow, December 29th, also December 30th, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on December 23rd and the 31st of December from 8 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Remember, there is no voting on December 24th or 25th for the Christmas holiday. If you've already received your ballots or your absentee ballot and you prefer to drop it off, as I will, instead of mailing it, ballot drop boxes are open across Chatham County. And as you're aware, you can drop off your ballot in a secure election drop box at the Board of Elections office, the Savannah Civic Center, the Carver Heights Community Center, the Liberty City Community Center, the Pennsylvania Avenue Resource Center, the WW Law Community Center, the Southwest Chatham Library, the UGA Extension in Garden City, the Whitmarsh Island Chatham County Police Precinct, and the Pooler City Hall. Today, the Savannah City Council holds its final meeting of what has been an extremely eventful 2020. On Friday, the City Council passed a balanced 2021 budget, and it does not include any tax increases, fee increases, layoffs, or furloughs. It preserves critical social service and cultural arts funding and allows us to structurally reestablish the Savannah Impact Program by utilizing a violence interruption concept that has proven successful in other cities in reducing violent and often gang-related crime. This has been an extremely challenging budget year, and certainly not the year we were expecting. But I am thankful and grateful for the hard work of our city managers, Pat Monahan previously and Michael Brown now, our budget and finance teams, and of course all of Team Savannah for making this possible. I will tell you that there are cities across the country that were not able to do this. There were some questions about defunding the police, and I want to make it clear, as I have from the beginning, that I am not in favor of defunding the police, literally. I understand, as most of us do, that we need the police. And I believe the council and I are in full agreement that we support our police department, and more importantly, we support good, effective, community-oriented, and community-focused policing. And I believe that we've made some significant strides in reimagining, retooling, re-outfitting how we police in our city. And I believe that there'll be more to come in 2021. So there was an increase in the police budget, clearly. But in addition to grant matching funds, because many of these grants require local matches, we also have technology such as ShotSpotter, the Global Positioning Center, Global Positioning Systems, and public safety cameras that operate on licenses, and these licenses must be paid for from time to time, and they must be maintained. And we have a fleet of vehicles that are on the road all of the time that must be maintained for the safety of our officers and the safety of our public. And so these budget increases are indicative of the council's desire to ensure the safety of both our public and our officers. In 2021, we plan to examine our budget monthly, and we'll make revisions as we need to, and we will make them as they're necessary. So that ends my prepared remarks for today. We'll probably be doing something different next week, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
One quick question for you. I know you're always running all over the city, so with vaccinations finally happening, just curious if you visited any frontline workers who have gotten it, if you know any testimonies you can share with us.
I have, thank you. Actually, I was present when the governor came and witnessed the inoculation of 4 of our frontline workers. I've since become very familiar with other folks that have gotten it. Our fire department received inoculations yesterday. We soon expect that some of our police will do it as well. We're happy that Moderna has been approved. And Moderna, as you know, one of the principal investigators was Dr. Paul Bradley here in Savannah. The first shot was given to Dawn Baker here in Savannah. And so, well, it's rolling out. And we're hoping that those in those categories are able to get it. You know, the reality is that we ultimately have choices to make. And I understand that, you know, people, I mean, I hate shots. Everybody knows that. I hate shots. But on the other end of it, I took a flu shot here because it was necessary to make sure I don't get sick. So the question is, with this high community spread, either, you know, you want to be vaccinated against it or you risk catching it. And the question is, which one, how does that work? And so I think I was pleased to see now President-elect Biden take his shot, Vice President Pence take his shot, and I understand the former presidents have done that as well. So we're rolling out. Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit more about the relief package and kind of what your thoughts are on that, and then also kind of what does that look like for local businesses, residents, and people who may be seeking that relief?
Well, I think, you know, I was glad that finally we were able to break through these roadblocks to come up with something. Do I think it's enough? No, I don't think it's enough. I think, again, I was very disappointed that local governments were left out, particularly when you look at cities like Savannah, who use 80% of our CARES Act funding to go back into the community. The reality is that we gain our revenue from 4 major sources. We gain it from property taxes, we gain it from sales tax revenue, hotel, motel tax, and franchise fees. So the fact is that our citizens continue to require a high level of services at a high quality. We are charged to provide those services. And so if we don't get the money from there, then we have to get the money from here. And so to overburden people who've already been overburdened, I think, you know, again, people are getting the money, and then we're going to turn around and tax them for the money they just got. So again, I think there has to be some acknowledgement that city governments, county governments are where the rubber meets the road. We are operating during some very challenging times. And again, Savannah is blessed compared to other local governments who have already laid off, have already furloughed. You know, we're blessed that we have not had to do that yet, and the yet is a big YET. But understanding that, you know, we need some assistance. And I was disappointed, frankly, that our senators did not fight for that local government assistance. There are 159 counties, over 530 cities in Georgia, and we're all facing similar challenges.
Additionally, you talked a little bit about holiday gatherings, but we've also seen some larger gatherings here in the city, whether it be football games, or we've even seen some pop-up weddings in squares, etc. And from some of the reports we're hearing, code enforcement came through and just handed out masks. Are we seeing any citations at this point? And kind of what are your thoughts on those gatherings at this point and seeing them happen?
Yeah, I've heard about, I have not seen any. And it's probably good that I have not, because I probably would have went ballistic in the park. And my expectation through the city manager, the police chief, and to our COVID resource team are that we immediately break these up. I would hate for someone's lovely day to be ruined, but on the other end of it, I don't want people to try us. This is serious, and we don't want somebody's best day to become somebody else's worst day. And so we understand where we are, and I'm asking for people, when they see those types of gatherings, to call the police. And I'm expecting the police to respond appropriately. You know, we just, beyond having those types of gatherings, it just becomes very dangerous. And then from the pictures I've seen, no mask, no social distancing, and people are having a great time. And many times they're not from here. And so, again, we have to establish that here in Savannah, we're keeping the faith, we're following the science, and we have a mask mandate. We want to keep our city safe. And if people are coming into our home, we want them to respect us in doing that. They can still have a wedding. I performed a wedding over the weekend, outside, 4 people. But I just think we have to be very careful about that.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
My question for you is about the budget and the police budget's increase. You talked about how you have come out and said point blank that you don't support defunding the police, and now I think that it kind of paints a clearer picture. I mean, City Council is giving them more money. And so tell me, do you think that this kind of counteracts the whole idea that people have that you're about defunding the police?
I've never, and you can check my public statements, I've never said anything about defunding the police. I'm a former law enforcement officer. I believe that police have value to maintain a peaceful and orderly society. The fact is, if you're victimized, you want to call the police, and you expect police to respond. Again, this is another opportunity to me to salute the work of the Savannah Police Department. We have a clearance rate of over 70% on homicides. They have occurred in private homes, and yet through great work, great detective work, we've been able to bring these folks to justice quickly. On the other end of it, we have increased our investigative resources because we recognize also that we have cold cases out there, and sometimes in solving one case, you get to solve another one. And so I think the defund ethos was really this thought that people say, well, just take away money from police and give it to something else. Well, the fact of the matter is, you're still in Georgia, you still have guns everywhere, and when people call the police, they expect the police to respond. And so for us, I think that we are probably underfunded when it comes to police. When you look at the amount of police officers we have as versus our daytime population, the people who are in Savannah during the days and people who are here on weekends. We probably don't have the amount of police that we have, but I think Chief Mentor and the leadership team of the police have been quite open and really saying that we need to demilitarize the police. We need to really look at some of the issues, social issues that police are dealing with. Hence, we have the behavioral health unit. We need to really invest in ways of preventing violence, hence in-gun violence, hence Savannah Impact, and really play more of a zone defense as it relates to, a man-to-man defense as it relates to people who are constantly engaged in crime. We have to be more intelligent in terms of our surveillance and our social media, and we need to use leverage technology. So I think, again, for the same people who say defund the police will not say we want a less safe Savannah. I believe that we can have a safe Savannah with an adequate and well-tuned police force, but just a different mindset. And I think what people were saying outside on May 31st is they wanted a different mindset from police. And so I point to the great work of the Savannah Cares Committee, Citizens Accountability and Review of Emergency Services. They issued recommendations that the police have accepted. I think all except one, Chief? Everything except one. So, again, these are things that citizens said that they thought that police could do to lower their use of force incidences, and the police have accepted all of them except one. So I think we're making progress, and I don't think you get there by taking away money from people that are charged to protect you.
And so essentially, in the simplest form, more funding allows them to do more for the community.
Yes, and again, we're also actively seeking grants, and a lot of these grants require matches. I think about the highway, what's it called, the heat grant for the Government Office of Highway Safety, the COPS grant. Some of these sometimes require us to provide matches. And so again, we have to provide the match to get more money to be able to help. I think people understand very clearly that they want the best qualified police force we have. And we have also invested money into recruiting because we don't want the bottom of the barrel to be our police officers. We want to get the best and brightest. We want people who can think and who can reason, people who are beyond their biases, so that we're able to have a highly trained officer that's able to think. And so they're engaging people with their minds and not with their weapons.
Off the top of your head, do you know what that one recommendation was that the police department can accept from the task force?
There was one that related to professionalism, and it was really a thought about profanity, about officers not using profanity. And again, the issue was that we recognized from reviewing tapes and things that professionalism goes to how a person engages you. And so if I'm a professional, I should talk to you as a professional. If you're a homeless man on the street or if you're a bank CEO, that my behavior towards you needs to be professional. There should never be a reason that I should be using profanity towards you, my customer. And so the chief, and I think rightly so, the city is coming up with some type of policy overall that will govern all employees. So I think the chief decided not to implement that until we see what the city does comprehensively. Was there another one, Chief? Right, okay. There was a recommendation about reviewing body-worn cameras. When you have an officer that's involved in a use of force incident, presently they are allowed, as they write their report, to review their body-worn camera to write the report. And so the thought of the committee, or the task force, was that, well, they should be able to do it from memory, just as the person involved, the citizen involved, doesn't have the access to review the body-worn camera. The thought is that for police, sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, when you don't have all the details because you're focused very linearly on what is in front of you, there might have been other things you did not see. And so giving them the opportunity to review the body-worn camera gives them the opportunity to write a better report, so to speak. And, you know, they just, the chief, and after talking with the officers, we also talked with the police union, and they were not in favor of it. The chief decided not to implement it. And, okay. You know, again, these are recommendations.
And last question for you. Do you know off the top of your head how much of an increase the police department got?
$2 million? $2 million. It's $2 million.
Which brings the total budget to
66? 66 million. Yeah. Yeah, 2 million. Again, when you look at ShotSpotter, you look at the GPS systems, when you look at the public safety cameras, again, many of those are licenses and they have to be renewed. Yeah. You asked a bunch of questions today. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
I know. Thank you.
Mayor, you mentioned early on that the city's been looking
He moved my closer.
you mentioned early on that the city's been looking to avoid layoffs and furloughs, but you said that it was a bit yet with that. So what's the update? Are we still on track to keep that going, or what's the likelihood that we'll be seeing furloughs and layoffs in the future?
January 1st begins the 2021 budget year. I will not say that we will not furlough, we will not lay off. We might be put into a position where we might have to. That all depends on COVID-19. That depends on the amount of support or lack thereof we receive from the federal government. You know, it is so many different things, so we're going to keep our hands on the pulse. You know, the goal was for us to at least have a budget that did not include that. But I say yet because we might find ourselves in that position. I mean, everyone has that breaking point. For 2 years in a row, the city council has not raised taxes, property taxes, for our community. Matter of fact, we've rolled them back to what's called the state rollback rate, which means we have less money to be able to provide the same level of service. And so people want that service, they expect that service, they deserve that service, and so we want to maintain those levels. If it changes, then of course, we'll be challenged to find other ways to deal with it. All right. Well, we appreciate you all. Again, we'll figure out something nice over the next couple of days to prevent you all from coming down here. Maybe, Nick, we could do a Zoom or something as we reflect on the year that was. And I'm really hoping that all of you, and thank you really for our media partners. We've been doing this all year. And for the most part, since March, you've been coming down and hanging out with us, and we appreciate that. And we hope that we've been as kind to you as you've been to us. And we're looking forward to finding ways to get more information out. 2021 is a new and exciting year. Frankly, I'm looking forward to something different. And hopefully with now 2 vaccines approved, hopefully with people following the science and keeping the faith, that we'll be able to talk about things other than COVID-19. So for all of you, please enjoy your holiday. Spend time with those who mean the most to you. God bless you. May God bless Savannah. Thank you.